All right, so welcome everyone. 15 minutes of positivity. It's Wednesday. We're just going to spend the next, 14 minutes together trying to activate some parts of our nervous system that will help us over time if we keep activating them. Just get better and better at this general catch-all thing called positivity. So today's theme, if you will, is worry. And when I look at this picture, as awestruck as I am about this guy, Laird Hamilton, way back when, surfing this big wave in Hawaii called Jaws, the first thing that comes to my mind is worry. Like I feel this foreboding sense that trying to imagine myself in his position in that experience, and I think all I would be experiencing is this, redlining the worry and anxiety and fear and so on and so forth. And then, of course, it doesn't have to be that extreme. I think we all experience this on a daily basis. And this is our nervous system activating and saying, hey, something's not right. Something feels scary. I feel unsafe. And part of what we experience there is this subjective sense of worry. And, we experience it. It's a very subjective experience, right? So this little guy or gal right here is probably feeling fear and some degree of worry about who knows what. It might be a toy, it might be an ice cream, it might be something, objectively much more serious, who knows. Um, then there's this. I think this strikes fear into everyone's heart, the idea of being on the receiving end of a polar bear trying to chew through the ice to get at us. That's a pretty appropriate experience of worry. And then who knows what's going on here? And so the reason I'm showing this picture is worry is also a gateway or a kind of representation that is oftentimes accompanied, with sadness, with frustration, even irritation, just a sense of overwhelm. And this is where things get interesting because our brain is really, really good at spinning all kinds of stories of woe and misfortune and terrible things happening. As I've shared with you guys, I continue to have these peculiar heart arrhythmias that have probably the biggest impact that I've been experiencing is insomnia. And so it's not unusual that my eyes open up at like 1:45, 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm kind of staring at the ceiling in the dark, and I begin to notice just the crazy stuff that my brain begins to spin. And oftentimes, what I'm most worried about are things like you're going to be so tired tomorrow if you don't get some sleep. And if you can't fall asleep, you're going to be utterly exhausted tomorrow. And so there's this really bizarre paradox, which oftentimes has me literally laughing out loud at 2 in the morning in the dark, is there I am, all spun out and worried about what might happen in the future. And it's ironically preventing me from relaxing and falling asleep in the present moment. So we end up in this, worry is this peculiar thing where we're kind of damned if we do and damned if we don't. So here's the Dalai Lama saying, if there's no solution to the problem, then don't waste time worrying about it. If there is a solution to the problem, then take action. Don't waste time worrying about it. So either way, there's no benefit in worrying whatsoever. So I'd like to think of them's fighting words, and easier said than done. And most of us don't necessarily have this ultra rational or spiritual Zen stance that we can just sit there and say, hey, worrying, don't bother worrying, because it doesn't really work either way. But we can practice it. So I thought, let's spend the remaining minutes today focusing on this dilemma of the emotion of worry and see if we can shift our relationship to it a little bit. So as usual, let's start by closing our eyes. I noticed I naturally took a deep inhalation and an exhalation, so that's probably a good place to start. So intentionally fill up your lungs and then exhale all the way. And hold your exhale for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just allow your body to inhale and exhale naturally. Noticing what it's like to be present right here, right now. I'm sitting in a big recliner. Wherever you find yourself sitting, just notice your contact with the ground, your feet, and then indirectly your elbows, your pelvis, glutes, your lower back, being supported, the chair and the ground. Now bring to mind a situation that elicits some worry for you, something you feel concerned about. Whether it's something that pops up on social media or in your New York Times feed or whatever other feed you might be getting, whether it's a conversation you had with a friend or a neighbor, and see if you can drop into that narrative of worry. There you are in that situation, and there's a palpable feeling something in the future is not going to be okay. Called worry, felt sense of things are not going to be okay in the future. One of the ways the mind makes sense of that is to worry. And see if from this place, the stillness, where we're just sitting, connected to the ground, see if you can observe the worrying mind. What's it like to bear witness to a mind that is worried about the future? In this situation, what does the mind want? Or what is the mind grasping for that would have it feel less worried? It's the solution to the worry, according to the mind. And just notice it. Sort of entertain the narrative for a few seconds of, oh, yeah, my mind thinks all these different things happen this way or that way, and I wouldn't need to worry. Just notice what those stories are. And again, the trick here is to notice yourself noticing, taking a step back, noticing the mind thinking and imagining this future in which all of these things happen. If they did happen, there's this idea that I wouldn't need to worry and everything would be okay. This exploration is like a mini master class in the anatomy of thought. This is what happens when the mind thinks, especially when it thinks about the future. And see if you can take a brief but cursory kind of inventory of what are the stories that your mind has a tendency to worry about. What are your worries? What are you afraid is going to happen? What are you afraid is not going to happen? What are you worried you might need to do in the future that maybe you're ill prepared for? Take a step back and watch. And notice yourself watching this worried mind from the vantage point of this of being grounded. Both of your feet are flat on the ground. Maybe your palms of your hands are touching or they're resting in your lap. Again, get connected with the groundedness in this moment. Notice worries, almost like clouds in the sky just drifting by. And this grounded place is a place we can always return to no matter where we are, no matter the situation. And worry is forever fleeting and somewhat ephemeral. It's out there, it's floating by. And go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhale all the way. And hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale. Open your eyes. Exhale all the way. And again, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come on back to the session. We're a little bit over time. My apologies. Hope that was helpful and gives you, just a good reminder of worrying is a peculiar pastime that the human mind engages in a lot, and maybe bringing some awareness to that process might help alleviate some of the woes and troubles that come with it. So hope that was helpful. See you tomorrow for Thursday. We'll do Thankfulness Thursday and do a gratitude session at noon. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.